What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Unwrapped. It's me, Tasha. Thank you for joining me here at the intersection between pop culture and common sense. And we're going to exercise our common sense muscles right now. First and foremost, I'm going to make an admission. I'm going to start today's episode off being messy, getting in the weeds of the Republican drama that may or may not be actually coming out of the White House. So, how many of us paid attention this past week to the way Elon Musk's week ended? Did not end on a high note. No matter what he might think, you ain't fooling nobody, Elon. You can't go around tipping around with people's wives, allegedly, and coming out of it unscathed. As Elon Musk left the White House at the end of his 130-day tour of duty working for the president, or the guy that's in the Oval Office right now, there were a couple of notable changes that went along with that. The first notable change is that Stephen Miller, one of the president's top aides and advisors, his wife left the White House to work for Elon Musk full time. Now, I'm wondering if she just believed in the Doge mission so much that she decided that she was going to work for Elon. But the messy side of things says that she left for other reasons. Now, when your choices are Elon Musk or Stephen Miller, and you kind of have to think which one is the bigger ghoul, I really don't know how you make that choice. Elon Musk is arguably a mass murderer with the blood of hundreds of thousands of children on his hands. And then Stephen Miller is the architect of Project 2025, or at least one of the architects. He is arguably the equivalent of Hitler's right hand man, Goebbels, from back in the Nazi era. So you make your choice. You decide. Tell me which one, if you had to make a choice, which one of these dudes would you leave the White House with? So this is Katie Miller. This is Stephen Miller's wife. And of course, that is Elon Musk. Now, I'm going to use allegedly. And even if I don't use allegedly, please presume allegedly, because I don't want to besmirch this lady's name in the name of having a good laugh at Elon. But it cannot be a coincidence that when Katie here decided that she was going to leave with Elon, maybe the very next day, Elon shows up in a press conference with Donald Trump looking like this. Now, we see Elon here definitely has a black eye. There are other people who say that they can see other damage to Elon's face. My vision ain't ever been that great. One thing we all can agree upon is that Elon has a black eye. He's been whopped in the eye by someone. Now, if you were to ask Elon, there's a perfect explanation for why he is sporting this black eye. This is Elon from the Oval Office when asked about his eye.
I wanted to ask quickly, Mr. Musk, what is your eye okay? What happened to your eye? I noticed there's a bruise there.
Well, it wasn't. I wasn't anywhere near France, so. But.
What does that mean?
No,
I didn't know. First lady of France. I didn't know.
I was just walking around with Lex, and I said, "Go ahead, punch me in the face," and he did. Turns out even a 5-year-old punched me in the face. Actually,
That was X that did? Yeah. X, if you knew X.
That's really small right now.
So X marks the spot, y'all. Once again, baby X is getting the blame, or he is covering for his dad. Now, if you don't know what I mean, don't y'all remember when Elon was coming and going during the Doge era, which lasted, 2 or 3 months? The Doge era, when Elon would come and go from the White House, he would always be carrying his little boy, X, on his shoulders. Yeah, let me show you a picture of him carrying X on his shoulders. Like this picture. He's got little X on his shoulders, and everybody thought it's just a cute moment for father and a son. But common sense kind of started to tell me that he was using X to keep anybody from taking an unwanted shot against him. Because if he kept little X on his shoulders, it would take a cold-hearted person to try to take a headshot, bow, at Elon. So here he's using his child as a shield, according to Tasha. Like I said, this allegedly is going to be all over this video. So take this with a grain of salt. He wears a bulletproof vest. He's doing some very unpopular work in the White House. And he continuously keeps bringing this child with him and keeping him on his shoulders, the only place that he cannot wear anything Kevlar. You decide whether or not he's using his child as a shield. But regardless, it sure appears that he's using him as a shield, and he's also throwing his son under the bus about this punch to the eye. Because, of course, the story could be true, but there's the possibility that somebody else, maybe even Stephen Miller, punched him in the eye. And if that wasn't bad enough for Elon, guess what else happened that same day that he's sporting the shiner in the Oval Office? This comes out. The New York Times reports that on the campaign trail, Elon Musk juggled drugs and family drama. They talked in this article at length about the kinds and the amounts of drugs that Elon Musk was under the influence of the entire time that he was on the campaign trail with Donald Trump and when he was working with Doge. Now, according to this article written by Kirsten Grind and Megan Toohey, Mr. Musk's drug consumption went well beyond occasional use. He told people he was taking so much ketamine, a powerful anesthetic, that it was affecting his bladder, a known effect of chronic ketamine use. He took ecstasy. He took psychedelic mushrooms. He traveled with a daily medication box that held about 20 pills, including ones with the markings of the stimulant Adderall, according to a photo of the box and people who had seen it. Now, again, this article says it's unclear whether Mr. Musk, who's 53 years old, just literally a year or so older than me, it's unclear whether or not he was taking drugs when he became a fixture at the White House, but we have seen him exhibiting some very odd behavior. He insults people in the cabinet. He did the whole Nazi salute. And then there's this. During that same Oval Office interviewer press conference that I was just talking about, this is how Musk was behaving. This man appears to be high as a giraffe's ass in the Oval Office during a press conference. And now, this is by no means the first time we've seen this type of kind of erratic behavior coming from Elon Musk. But after this article comes out, the same day that he's behaving this way, it is very hard to assume that he's not under the influence of drugs. Look at this man. This is actually scary. It's scary to think that a person who is this ravaged by illegal substances was allowed to use a freaking chainsaw and cut into government agencies and cut into the federal workforce, all of these things while under the influence of ketamine, Adderall, ecstasy, psychedelic mushrooms. Of course, all of this is allegedly. So, despite what we seem to be witnessing with our own eyes with Elon and maybe, possibly, probably being under the influence of drugs, especially in the Oval Office, despite what our eyes tell us, this is what Elon has to say about the entire New York Times article.
The president mentioned that you had to deal with all the slings and arrows during your time at Doge. There's this.
Well, some of the people, some of the media organizations in this room are the slingers.
Well, so there is a New York Times report today that accuses you of blurring the line between.
Is the New York Times, is that the same publication that got a Pulitzer Prize for false reporting on the Russiagate? Is it the same organization?
I got to check my Pulitzer.
I think it is.
It is.
And so I think the judge just ruled against the New York Times for their lies about the Russiagate hoax, and that they might have to give back that Pulitzer Prize. That New York Times. Let's move on.
Okay, then
Next
President
question.
Trump, I got one for President.
So you see it, you saw it, you heard it. He wants to deflect and start talking about Russia, which is what they always freaking do. They always bring up Russia. They always bring up Russia, even though it is also clear to anybody who has eyes and anybody who has ears that there is some relationship between this White House and Russia. But nobody wants to see that. But then again, that's me just saying everything that's under the alleged umbrella while I've got it up. Allegedly, this regime has ties to Russia, a special relationship with Putin, and now they use that as a shield on anything. But clearly something is wrong with this man, and clearly he had this response kind of already prepared because he knew somebody was going to ask about that New York Times article. You ain't fooling us, Elon. And while this is extremely funny, it's like one of the worst weeks ever for a multi-billionaire like Elon Musk. This is nothing. It pales in comparison to the lives that he has hurt with his actions. It pales in comparison to the children who were relying on food and nutrients and medicine coming from, say, you said, that they didn't receive. And these children die because of the actions of these two men. It is a shame that if Elon Musk really is under the influence of drugs on a regular basis, which clearly it looks like he is, right? From what we can see with our own eyes, without having him pee in a cup, which would probably be hard because he has bladder issues. If Trump knew that this man was on this level of drugs, and just let that man loose on your personal information, on your family or loved ones' jobs. If he allowed that to happen, he is equally, if not more horrible than Elon Musk. And Elon Musk is a horrible person. Let's just full stop. He's a horrible person. But how much worse does Trump have to be when he calls immigrants criminals just for being immigrants? If you are here undocumented, you are automatically a criminal. But then have an actual criminal standing next to another criminal and they're calling people criminals. I sound like I'm crazy right now. You got two criminals calling people criminals and treating them like the scourge of the earth. In the meantime, Elon Musk is high as a giraffe's ass, and Donald Trump is as stupid as they come. So, yeah, I said what I said, y'all. While this is funny, while it's messy and it's some shit that I normally don't do, I'm going to talk about it because, number one, it's important that we call out all of their behaviors. We don't want anything to get left or be tossed by the wayside. We need to call out all of the behavior that we need these people to be held accountable for. That's number one. And number two, for the people, and I know by the time you get to this part of the video, nobody who supports Trump will be this far into the video. But if you are, look at this man. Look at the representation that these people on the world stage, on the national stage, look at them. How can you, in good conscience, support this? So, with all that being said, I don't have anything else. I appreciate you for hanging out with me. This is not tea. This is knowledge. I don't spill tea. I do drop knowledge, and occasionally I'll jump in the weeds and get a little messy and laugh at these clowns. You deserve so much more than just some tea. Okay. Thank you for being here. Like, subscribe, comment, do all of those YouTube things, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Every click, every share, y'all make us fly. Together we shine brighter than the sky. From shout outs to comments, we see every word. Y'all the reason Tasha's voice gets heard. Subscribers growing, lighten up the day. With your support, we'll never fade away. Thank you, Unwrapped fam, you keep us strong. Keep us strong. Your love and your faith help us move along. Help us move along. Every click, every share, y'all make us fly. Y'all make us fly. Together we shine brighter than the sky. Brighter than the sky. Roll call for the peeps who keep it alive. Patron super chats all here on the drive. Tasha got the mic, but you fuel the vibe. This channel's a party and y'all keep it live.
Monthly supporters, give y'all a cheer. Live stream energy, you bring the gear. Every episode's magic, cause of y'all's touch.